This is Ed Salzberg, Managing Director of the Security and Sustainability Forum. On June 21st, from 10:15 to 11:45 a.m. Eastern Time, we're hosting the first in a series of complimentary webinars addressing how to adapt to the variety of national security threats from a changing climate. I'll introduce the webinar lineup at the end of this 5-minute video, but today's purpose is to interview the moderator of the first session, Eileen Shea, who's Chief of the Climate Services and Monitoring Division of NOAA's National Climatic Data Center. In this role, Eileen has her finger on the information that documents climate trends and which is also the basis for adaptation decisions. Eileen is one of the nation's true experts in this critical issue. Eileen, we're fortunate to have you play the leadership role in this first webinar to set the stage for the subsequent sessions. Registrations are at record levels and we're nearly at the ceiling for the event. For those of you listening, please don't wait to sign up if you haven't done so already.
Eileen, why did you pick this particular topic to lead off the series, and really what's its importance?
The link between climate adaptation and national security was chosen as a topic in order to make the point that changes in weather and climate, whether from month to month or from year to year or over decades, as we think about long-term climate change, have direct impacts on every aspect of our lives. So in this context, national security is used in its broadest definition. There are implications of changing climate for military operations and true defense aspects of national security. But there are equally important and sometimes even more challenging aspects of changing climate and the way in which we respond to those climate changes for water resource management, for food security, for the security of our ecosystems and the natural resources that live and breed and thrive in those ecosystems, as well as the long-term sustainability of our communities and our businesses. So national security involves every aspect of our lives, and weather and climate touch every aspect of our lives.
Yes, I see. And actually a threat to any one of those areas, food, water, the economics of the area, really do pose threats to the society as a whole. So from that standpoint, it is a national security issue.
Absolutely, and there is the flip side of the risk coin, and that is the opportunity coin. In other words, the more we think about how changing climate affects us today, the better positioned we are to be prepared and therefore to reduce those risks or enhance our resilience.
And you've been so much involved in adaptation from your position with NOAA and being involved with panels and committees. You know the people in the field. You actually know everybody in the field. Why did you select these panelists?
I selected these panelists in part because of their own expertise and insights and the many, many years of work that they've each contributed to advancing our understanding of both the impacts of changing climate and adaptation. In particular, I wanted to bring 3 specific perspectives. The perspectives of someone who's been working at the level of city managers and town councils, who are thinking about the ways in which the livelihood and economic stability of their cities are affected by changes in climate and how those cities and communities can be better prepared. And so we have someone from ICLEI, Missy Stoltz, who's going to be talking to us about that perspective. I wanted Lynn Carter because she's been working to help universities and scientists understand the challenge of adaptation from the perspective of businesses, communities, and resource managers around the country. But she also, at the same time, has been helping everyone to understand that adaptation is not something grand and new. It is simply about weaving the climate thread through decisions that we make today. So both Missy and Lynn are giving us more of a city and state and local perspective. Rowan's going to give us a more macroeconomic perspective. Working for the reinsurance sector, he has a perspective on risk management that looks to the large-scale impacts of climate change on the economy of a nation, a group of nations, as well as on smaller communities. So we really wanted to try and get the idea of a small-scale impact, a large-scale impact, and the use of information, scientific information, to address both.
Well, you can really see the big picture as well as how that translates into individual actions at, say, the regional and the local level, where the actions are so important because that's where the adaptation really takes place.
Absolutely. And we feel changing climate where we live. We don't feel global average temperature increase. We feel how that increase in temperature around the globe affects the weather patterns that we experience, whether that's drought or floods or outbreaks of tornadoes or hurricanes.
Absolutely. Which leads me into the last question. Who are we trying to attract to this session, and what will they take away? What will they learn from it?
I hope that it's a really nice, diverse mix of participants representing government, representing industry, and representing the scientific community, striving to see the results of their research applied to helping decision makers anticipate changing climate conditions, develop effective strategies for dealing with those changes, and continuously evolve both policy and science so that we can develop a more resilient community, more resilient natural resources, and more resilient economy in the face of those changing climate conditions. So we hope that we have working scientists as well as decision makers and policy analysts who advise decision makers at local government, state government, federal government agencies, individuals who represent and are concerned with natural resource management in the non-governmental organizations, as well as those interested in climate literacy and education.
And we're working with associations that represent all of those groups to get the word out about this first session. Eileen, we're just really pleased that you've taken the leadership role here and put the panel together. And we're just looking forward to the session on June 21st.
As am I.
SSF's Adaptation and National Security Complementary Webinar Series will continue through the summer and fall of 2011. Following Eileen's June introductory webinar, we have planned 4 more to address the specific adaptations to protect food, water, and infrastructure, and also maintain economic growth. Check the SSF website for the schedules, and you can also sign up at the website for email alerts on these and other SSF-produced events. This is Ed Salzberg, the Director of the Security and Sustainability Forum, and speaking for the organization, I invite you to participate in this educational series.